All right, so welcome to the third and final piece of our TA playbook series where I walk you through my tried and true practiced theories, applications, whatever words you want to use for kicking off or enhancing your hiring teams, whether you're a recruiter, hiring manager, whoever else may be involved, how to improve and implement all of the things and how to think about it from a very, very elementary level. This is to get you set up with the core stuff. And today we are talking about the offer phase. So there's a few things, 5 specifically, that I want to walk you through. The first one being timely. Avoid delays during the offer phase. When you know. Top candidates that you've had go through your interview process, they also have other companies that's, they're on the radar of. So you want to be closer to first as possible, if not the first. Obviously, you won't know that, but the goal is to be that person. The speed and efficiency of delivering that message to your hopefully new hire, they have to say, yeah, will show them, the eagerness that you had to bring them onto the team. You were impressed with them. You respect their time, all of those things. Personalize the experience. Don't just send off like obviously you want to have a template so you're not saying too much of a different thing from person to person, but have that preset message feel personable and have parts of it set up where, it does have that in there. But I think before you send that message, you should probably call that person. I have come to find that verbal offers, they're way more personable. Just get on the phone or get on a Zoom call somebody, be like, hey, you want to work here? Here's how much money we got. Yes or no, right? Like that just makes sense to me. Obviously, there's aspects of maintaining professionalism when someone comes back with maybe a counter offer or they want to negotiate in general any aspect of their package that is within reason, of course, or they say no altogether because they took another role, or no one ever really knows the true reason. Just like a candidate doesn't always know the true reason that a company rejected them, you may not ever really know the true reason why a candidate just didn't pick you. They have that right? The fourth one is being transparent. Say what needs to be said. This person is about to work here. If they say yes, there isn't much room for hiding information that is going to be very, very, effective in them making a final decision to sign that offer letter. I have seen this phrase in a variety of ways, but not giving someone full transparency to the best of your ability removes their autonomy. It removes their ability to make a sound decision for themselves. So be transparent. Here's how much money, here's the benefits, here's the time off, here's who you're working with, here's some things that may have changed since we last talked. Tell that person all of that because they're about to sign a binding contract with you. Collaborate with HR is the final one. Talk to us. I'm an HR person and I have also been a hiring manager. Make sure that, again, just the little things don't turn into the bigger things. We're usually the ones that are the holders of the offer letter templates. We want to make sure that the new hires receiving specific aspects of information when it's supposed to be sent to them, so that way we're not overwhelming them, because that's another thing. We can maybe do a whole series about onboarding, but we'll get there. When it comes to negotiations, this is very subjective. You want to essentially expect negotiations, right? That's something that we can have more of a opinionated piece on, but expect that to be a thing. Be prepared to have done some kind of research, definitely beforehand. We've talked about this in part 1 with compensation, but revisit that. Things change all the time. You want to make sure you're on point if you're a large enough company or funded enough company to outsource a compensation specialist to review all the numbers and stuff that's going on in your org and making sure you're paying fairly and equitably across the board. Do that. That's not a resource that's just like, if we got it, we'll do it. If you have it, do it. Do all the research necessary. Make sure you understand the other person's point of view too, because it's called a negotiation. We're talking about a compromise. Active listening to what this person is saying. And yes, reading between the lines is important, but you want to stay on task. This is very similar to some of the things I talk about in the second part, which is the interview process, which is staying on track, making sure you're not at least purposefully saying anything too out of pocket. Active listening to what this person is needing or think they're needing so you can understand how to rebuttal. Highlight, again, a number of the benefits, the non-monetary stuff, if you will. There's a difference between perks and benefits. Talk about all the things that make things make sense. And when you're talking to the candidate, talking about like, you know, hey, this is where we were. This is some of the stuff we looked up. This is kind of how we felt. Is this a window that can work for you? And if it's something that is a little bit rougher, again, come back to your HR person and be like, hey, I don't know how to approach this. Or if you're the HR person, go to your boss or go to that hiring manager and be like, hey, is there some wiggle room here for some things? What do you think? Closing a negotiation, for me, requires two things. You set the clear expectations. You clearly communicate what those expectations are. And set a timeline on when you expect an answer. Don't tell someone to, you know, give you an answer in 24 hours. I think that you don't want it to be like a week. I think even for your bigger positions, your executives and boards and stuff like that, I don't think it should be anything more than like a couple days. Because again, you want to give them room to make their own decision because you've been transparent the whole time. But you also want to really let them know that you want them there and you're willing to meet them within reason for both you and that person. Another tough topic is rescinding an offer for a number of reasons. There's a few that I highlight in this. The first of three being only rescind if it's absolutely necessary. So a failed background check, a discovery of some kind of falsified information, whether it's experience or anything that could trigger just not a good experience for you as an organization because something didn't come back the way either one of you thought it was. A lot of times these things are just flat out mistakes. So you don't want to be judgmental either. That's not your place. You are supposed to communicate, which is the second point, why that offer is being rescinded and handle it with extreme empathy, extreme sensitivity, because what you are telling this person that you once was offering a job to is that you are not going to be the company anymore that will provide them the ability to take care of themselves and whoever else may be attached to them if that is the case. Document everything you're saying, which is the last part. Make sure that HR is in the room when this is happening. But you want to make sure that there's an extreme amount of sensitivity and that the reason you're pulling this offer letter back is not rooted in anything discriminatory, anything that is like harmful to the human experience. That is not why you are rescinding an offer. On the other side of this, you're in the offer phase and now you got to tell however many people that they're not getting the job. One, we don't believe in ghosting around here. So learn how your applicant tracking systems like mass mailer works and make sure you're obviously sending the right template and sending these rejections in a timely manner. But again, something we talked about kind of in part one, but mostly in part two, when you're rejecting someone, the further into the interview process they made it, especially if they've made it to a final round and you maybe have 3-4 people that you're like, man, we deliberated quite some time over this and I really wanted them, but I can't hire 4 people. I can only pick one, if I'm lucky 2, and they're not going to be at the same level, right? So the further into the interview process a candidate made it, the more personalized that rejection needs to be. I don't think you should be sending a scripted no reply rejection to someone who made it that far. This person essentially met everybody they would be working with. And at that point, their hopes are really, really high. Regardless of however many offers and opportunities they have going on outside of you, that's none of your business, to be completely honest. You need that to be a prompt delivery. You need it to obviously be a very respectful delivery. And I would say, depending on how those conversations went, the feedback and the deliberations, keep the door open to that candidate because something could pop up and you want to maintain the best relationship possible with someone who made it that far into your interview process. Because the way candidates approach this, or we try to teach candidates to approach this, is in the beginning, you are trying to prove yourself. You're trying to say the right things, do the right things, and show up in a way that this company may recognize as valuable, whether it's your skills, it should be primarily your skills, but anything else that they're looking for throughout your conversation with them, right? But also, you want to make sure that this is personal, because again, that if there isn't another opportunity at your company, you've created this bond as this person's gone through your process, and you might know somebody who knows somebody, and it is your price to pay for your ticket to heaven, as Muhammad Ali paraphrased the hell out of that, said. You can be the reason that person got what they needed and got where they needed to be, even if it wasn't at your organization. So all of that is extremely important, and I encourage you to think about that every single time you have a variety of these interactions. Offer acceptances are the fun part. You can ease up a little bit on one more role. So, obviously it's exciting for yourself if you're the recruiter or the hiring manager, but this is exciting for this person. They are probably getting a significant pay bump, or they're doing something they really wanted to do, or both. I've experienced both a number of times. Make this thing exciting. This person is about to come in. It's going to be awkward as hell when they get there in the very beginning. You want this to be comfortably familiar as possible at the beginning of their now tenure. They've signed or they're about to sign. You're confident they're going to sign. There might be a little bit back and forth about a couple of dollars, but like they're going to join your team, and they need to know that they're about to sign up to people who are going to cater to them as a human being. So make it exciting. Welcome them. Send little fun things if your company got the bread for it or your team got the bread for it. In that letter, though, and even in your verbal delivery, you want to make sure that the person knows their start date, the person knows their orientation date, the person knows all the benefit information, all that should be attached to whatever you're sending to them. You want to make sure that they know when they should expect equipment to arrive, if that's the case. You want to make sure they know when to show up, how to dress if it's something, if dress is important to that role. We can't be just telling people, don't be policing people's bodies without it actually being professionally attached to what they're doing. Hopefully no one's wearing thong sandals, shorts, and a tank top to a factory. That's where dress code is important, right? You want to have some closed-toe shoes, preferably steel toes, depending on how heavy that industrial work is. They have a reliable way to get to and from work. Those are things you're confirming earlier on, but you'd be surprised how far candidates get before they're told that information. Don't do that. You want to be reiterating what's necessary in the offer, especially in the verbal parts of it, or, you send a letter, double down on all the things that you agreed on. And then notify the internal stakeholders, notify the rest of your team, your company, whoever, that someone new is going to show up, and everyone is to be on their best behavior, be welcoming, and be this person's new teammate. In this current job market, the way organizations treat candidates is equally as important as the roles they'll fill. Candidates are armed with a significant amount of information. They have tools and resources, and they have plenty of connections to make informed decisions. But also, their opinion of your company's treatment of your current staff and current candidates is taken into account. Their expectations are set on the same things you would ask of your current team. So speed, transparency, and respect. Failing to meet any of those things just does all kinds of harm for you, your team, the company, and don't do that. A well-rounded process will win every single time. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be as functional and humane and equitable as possible. Your interview panel, the way you have things set up on the back end as far as the workflow of this whole thing, and you also have all the tools and the tools within the tools and platforms that you're using to make this as easy as possible for you. Applicant tracking systems can do so much for recruiters and hiring managers and whoever else is allowed access within reason to various levels of visibility in that applicant tracking system. I have yet to work in an applicant tracking system that doesn't have a mass reply function. Ghosting shouldn't even be a conversation. Learn how to send mass mails. Learn how to organize your candidates in different phases and work with your implementation specialist or whoever the appropriate, your account manager, whoever it is with the platform you use to source, file, schedule your candidates, that you understand how all of those things work on the back end. That is your responsibility, especially if you're the recruiter. The programming status updates to keep everyone informed is a thing that ATSs can do. You can automate so much of this stuff in these platforms now. You want to be as organized as possible. Precision and speed is the key. One doesn't work well without the other, but you can absolutely break things with all speed and no accuracy. That's just, any of you have seen baseball and seen someone get hit with a wild pitch. It was probably 98 miles an hour, but it hit that batter in the head, and that's not where that ball's supposed to go. So organize, speed, but make sure it's accurate, precise, respectful, and ethical. Hiring is not easy. It can be significantly less difficult, and it can be really fun. It actually genuinely can be really fun. It's not always going to be easy, but the smoother, again, you make your process and work at it and refine it and all of those things, the easier it will be. And it's a nice resume builder for you. You've hired X amount of people, you've implemented these amount of things, and it's worked this way or didn't work this way, and we changed it. Final thoughts. As you implement the strategies in these videos, remember that hiring is more than just a process. It's an opportunity to build relationships. It's a great way to tell strangers your organization's story. It's a great way to recruit people without them actually being candidates. You're talking about these things amongst your peers, and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of nice. I'm gonna see what y'all got going on over here." Every candidate's interaction is a chance to just reflect your values, both as a company and you as an individual, you as a team leader, whatever that looks like for you. It strengthens your org's reputation, it strengthens your reputation, and it sets the stage overall for long-term success, because you never know when your opportunity might come up for someone to pick you up from wherever you may be or the position you're in now, and help them improve whatever it is they want to improve about their hiring process, especially if you're a manager. I think this is a great thing for hiring managers to invest in. I will leave you with this. I teach these things firsthand. I would be more than happy to sit with any organization or managers, HR people individually that are considering bringing someone in to help them refine their process. And all that information can be found at tankshrcorner.com. Thanks for hanging out with me in the series. There's going to be hopefully a lot more of these as ideas pop into my head and I organize them in whatever way that looks like. And I'll see you in the next one.